Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. A big welcome to all of you. My name is Laura, and I am delighted that you are joining us for today's ESPC community webinar. Today, I am joined by Kasam, who will talk to you guys about how prompt engineering can not only shape the future of AI, but also potentially become your next job title. We love hearing what you guys have to say, so remember to join in on the conversation about today's webinar and more on X. Our handle is at ESPC_community and our hashtag is hashtag ESPC24. Tweet us at us and tell us what you learned. Don't forget to check out our Learning Hub as well, which is updated daily with the latest blogs, ebooks, webinars, how-to videos, and more. You can access and view the Learning Hub by visiting our website, sharepointeurope.com, and clicking the Content tab at the top. Don't let your learning stop here. Continue to keep up and stay ahead by joining us for our next Azure AI Week webinar. That is Features of Generative AI Workloads on Azure with Frank Falvey. This webinar takes place on Friday, January 19th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. CET. For more information on this webinar, please check out sharepointeurope.com/Azure AI Week. You asked and we listened. The ESPC 2-for-1 sale is making a comeback. Bring a colleague for free and double the impact of your learning. With our 2-for-1 deal, you can bring a colleague along at no extra cost. As they say, success is sweeter when shared. So seize this opportunity to multiply your insights and achievements. So what is a 2-for-1 sale? Well, you can buy 2 4-day tickets for the price of 1, or you can buy 2 3-day tickets for the price of 1. So how does this work? On the 1st of February, you can select 2 4-day tickets or 2 3-day tickets and enter the correct code. So don't forget to put a reminder in your calendars for the 1st of February at 9 a.m. CET. Act fast, as once this discount is gone, it is gone. And you can get your code at sharepointeurope.com/ESPC 2-for-1 offer. Elevate your Microsoft Power Platform work ethic and supercharge your savings. You can save a whopping €500 on EPPC 2024 tickets. But do hurry, as this offer is only valid until the 31st of January. And again, you can visit sharepointeurope.com/European Power Platform Conference pricing to secure this offer. So after the webinar, we will have a questions and answers session. Type any questions you might have into the questions window. Questions will be selected and answered at the end of the presentation. As always, this webinar will be recorded and added to the Resource Centre, where you will be notified by email when it is available. And now I'm going to pass you over to today's webinar presenter, Kasam. Hello, Kasam.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you and we can see your
Yes.
presentation as well.
Great, great. Okay. I can start?
Yeah,
Yeah,
fire
okay.
ahead.
Great, great. So, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you are. Today is one of my most interesting topic, which I love to speak on. That is on prompts. Why I love to speak on prompts, you will come to know in my all the coming slides, and why it makes me more happy to share about what I have learned till now as a part of prompts. So this is what the topic today is like. It's an engineering part of engineering, or it's an art, of course, while engaging with the LLMs. Before we start, uh, I am Kasam Sheikh. I'm in Microsoft MVP AI. I work as a senior cloud architect and Gen AI SME with Capgemini. And these are my few of the social credentials we can get connect with of X, GitHub, and LinkedIn. I do have my YouTube channel as well, and I lead an uh, community named Dear Azure in India. Um I'm also an author of 4 books, mostly other topics related to Azure and AI, and an MCT as well. So that was a short intro of mine. Now let's jump into the topic, today's topic. We will take the questions at the end, as said, because I have seen many of the times, like, there are few questions that comes in as in I will show you the slides, or as in we will discuss something, but many of the answers lies in the very next slide or somewhere in the next slide. So it's always like, I prefer to get the questions and answer it at the end. And I believe at the end, you will have some interesting questions with you, so don't hesitate to just ping in, and we will get in. I'll try to answer with the selected questions, and of course, after the webinar itself also, we can get connect over LinkedIn and all, and we can have one-on-one chat. So to start with, like, this is in very high level, you can say a flow, or just an kind of uh, diagram where it comes to building an LLM based application. Okay, now when I say LLM based application, I'm not talking about a kind of hello world application. Okay, so it's I'm referring to a kind of complex application based on LLMs, large language models. Okay, so basically, where when it comes to creating, or developing LLM based application, this is a very typical flow. Okay, you have your application backend, you send a request. That could be multiple LLMs providers, or a single LLM itself, based on, depends on what your application is all about, what your requirement is all about. But it's a typical flow. Your application just sends a request, and that's being processed in the LLMs, and you get a response back to your application, and it all happens in the form of kind of APIs. Okay, so I am not here to explain or to get dig into this LLM apps. Why I'm talking about this is like just to, you know um, uh, present you where this LLMs, or how this LLM based application looks like, in a very high level form. There could be multiple components, of course, but it's just about talking with your applications. Okay, so I've listed some of the emerging models, okay, based on and highlighting their uh, kind of creators or their vendors, like for OpenAI, it could be Midjourney, the Google's, then it comes to Meta, uh, of course, Microsoft's. And these are very few models which I have listed here, which I thought of listing over here. There are many models which are open source and you can use um, in your application. These models are, comes with different capabilities. Like, a few of the models are good in creating or generating the images. Few are good with generating the content like text, or few comes with an kind of multimodal uh, capabilities, like accepting the images and giving out the images, accepting the text, and all those things. Few are very niche in their capabilities, like biosecurities and all, and open sources. What remains common in all this model, when we talk about this LLM application, when we talk about no the models, there is one common things which comes up. Okay, be a kind of bot, uh, a kind of image bot with mid journey, be it kind of M365 Copilot, or GitHub Copilot, or any of the service which use this LLM as a part of their product, like uh, ChatGPT. there is one common things in all is about the input, is about the request. Okay, the the way we want to talk to this particular medium, be it could be M365 Copilot, it could be GitHub Copilot, or Chat GPT, or Meet Journey Bot, anything. The common thing is input which is given to receive and desired output. Okay, and this input or this talk to a particular LLM, or this talk to, you know chat with LLM, or to talk with LLM, or to converse with LLM, is something known as prompt. And when we talk about prompt engineering, it's all about the process. It's something you start designing from scratch, an input that start designing from scratch. You just enter that input, you get an output, you keep iterating those particular input, you start refining your input to get your desired output, right? And then you try, once you get your output, when you start getting your response, what you're expecting, you start optimizing it in the way you want to have that response in a very accurate manner. Okay, so this entire process, or this stuff like writing it from scratch, refining it again, iterating it again and again, and then trying to optimize it to get the accurate one, keeping in mind the cost efficiency one, the keeping in mind the cost which is being incurred while sending this input and getting this response. This entire process is known as prompt engineering. Now there are multiple uh, definitions available over the net for prompt engineering, right from with the perspective of a data scientist, to a perspective of a developer, with the perspective of a business analyst, or CEO, CFO, and all. Okay, but this is what today I especially like, and I think this covers everything, right from to all the aspects of a developer, or rather than all the aspects of the professions which we are dealing with. So in a simple language, or in a layman language, it's a kind of process of designing, refining, and optimizing the prompts to have an accurate output while keeping the cost efficiency. So this is all prompt engineering is all about. Now there could be many other, you must have heard about many different definitions, of course, but I especially think, and I would like that, I would like your feedback, or I would like your thought on this, like what you think about this definition, or do you think there could be some change or something sort of that will be really helpful for me. These are some of the prompts anatomy I wanted to discuss today. Like when we talk about, when we say, when we are dealing with LLMs, okay, in the uh, or the application. So how your prompt should be. Okay, now as you can see over the screen, it comes with certain order of instructions with them, or a certain order of we can say a rule. It's not a rule, but it's an best uh, practice to have this kind of order in any of the prompts when you talk, or when you add it in your application. For example, you can see write a product launch email for a new headphone. So it's giving an kind of instruction that it has to create a content for a email. It's a product launch, and it's about a new headphones. That's it. Now second comes input data. That is very much important. So you can see over there, the change is this product is an AI product, AI powered, and priced at so and so. So now, based on the instructions which we gave, it producing, or it's presenting some data. Okay, so now this will help the response to create the response in much better manner, in much crisp manner. Okay, like it knows it's a new headphones, that's fine. It's a product launch, we need to write an email. But what about the headphone, what it is? Now it is an AI powered product. it is so and so, it's the price of the product is so and so. So this is what the input data is altogether. Now we need to set the context. Okay, now how this email should be. You don't have to be a kind of bossy in the email as such. Okay, right? You need, when it comes to kind of sales or all, you need to be very friendly in tone. And it's a new product, so it could be an exciting one. Okay, just for an example, different example, if you write an uh, email, just an email
Uh,
to your boss asking for an leave. Okay, and is for so and so date. Okay. um, Now the third is about the context. The context could be the tone of that email. So of course, if you're requesting for a leave plan, it would be a kind of humble tone, a very, not an exciting one, but a very humble tone with a professional uh, cut into it. So I'm just giving an example. I'm just giving an example that can relate to us. So basically, this is what how the order goes. At first, there would be an instruction on your prompt. In your prompt, there will be input data with respect to what you're trying to have in a form of in the instruction. Then the context is been set of that particular prompt, and of course now it comes to target. So you need to decide what the output is. What helps is, like, when you give the output, it helps the the model to respond in a very again in a very crispy manner. Like, it knows what output is required. It could be a JSON, it could be a HTML, it could be a CSV, it could be a plain text, whatever it is. But it helps when you say that what should be the target format. Now, for example, again, you if you say that it's in JSON with subject and body, it's always better to give an example. Okay, so it will help out, like, help the model to give a desired output. So this is where you're setting up this is where you're setting up your expectations of the response. You remember we said refining, designing, optimizing, and everything to get a desired output. So you are giving an instruction, you are giving an input data, you are setting up the context, you are also letting them know the target format with an example. And of course, q is nothing but an the start of your output. Like, kind of, the email should start with uh, it will I would really appreciate. So you can just write I appreciate, that's it. So the q basically starts with uh, the response with whatever you set it as in form. Okay, so there are many things involved. So this is the when can you say basic anatomy which you need to remember when it comes to prompts. Okay, now the important thing is tokens. Now tokens you can consider as so I'm not a data scientist, so I don't want to get into more into this tokens as such. But in a very simple stuff, it's a kind of unit of your prompts or unit of your inputs. Now everything comes with some price. Okay, when we say cost effectiveness, this is where the cost lies. It's not about the number of requests, the number of response. Of course it could be, but the important stuff is about the number of tokens being sent, the number of tokens being received. Now these are for a disclaimer, I'm very much you know uh, talking with respect to Azure and OpenAI models. Okay, there could be different sort of tokens generation for different models, but I am talking about Azure OpenAI models. So you can consider tokens as in uh, four characters. Okay, out of as one token. So here is there is an example of with the different colors, like how the tokens are being considered by the LLM. So basically what happens when you write in like natural language input and natural plain English as an input, it converts into tokens. The LLMs process those tokens, process the output again in a tokens, and that is given as an output in a very natural language stuff. So this is all happens behind the scenes. Not let's not get into that, because we are more interested on prompts. So we are more interested in what we are giving as an input and what we are getting as an output. Okay, so you can consider English, a very plain English, as your new programming language, as in to talk with the LLMs. Okay, now you can see how it all depends upon the most friendly words. It depends upon the new words. Like for example, if you see, it is taking right as one token, okay, or headphones as one token. But if you see, it is taking introducing as two tokens, like introdu as one, and then cing as another token. So it all depends how it reads. Okay, and there is one when I will share this slide, I will share that link as well. There is one very interesting portal at an OpenAI website, that is Tokenizer, where you can just write any of the input or text or sentence, and it will display you how that is being uh, read as a token in the same manner, like the whatever sentences you're writing in, how that token is being considered or how that token is being calculated. So when we talk about the cost efficiency, okay, so how that particular stuff comes into picture. So of course, the length, the completion length, or the prompts which are giving in, that is being calculated. Now this is the uh, this price image is a bit older, so there could be a chances that there would be a new price structure came in. And I have just added it as just an example, not to get more into that pricing stuff, but to just to highlight how the cost efficiency is all together will be added into this. Okay, so as you can see, it has all the different models are comes up with a kind of capabilities or some kind of upper limits in their context. It could be 16K or 8K or 32K kind of, right? And this the pricings are mostly into the per 1000 tokens, of course, in the completion and chat one. So when you write, or when pass on your request in an API, pass on your prompts, that particular is calculated as a token. Okay, and that you need to be very much careful about while designing, or while developing your application, because that is what will play a bit very important role in your costing part. Because once it reaches, because see what happens when in the chat app, for example chat application, you set a context with every request, right? The user request and the response, then you add up your user and request, and the third request goes on. So it keeps adding, it keeps on adding your request, it keeps on adding up the tokens, it keeps on increasing the token. And if you reached a particular the threshold limit or the upper limit of that particular model which you are using, it always you can land up into a kind of error while in the response. So always kind of it depends, always take care of the deploy of the models which you are trying to deploy, which you are trying to use, because based on that you have to very much careful of your tokens or number of tokens, or in the form of prompts which you are sending into the application, the APIs which you are calling in, because that will play an important role. So there is something known as prompt template. Okay, now this is being used in the application as we talked about. And prompt template, what happens, it's a set of already, like when we talk about instructions, datas and everything. So it's a kind of a pre made template of a prompt, and few of the things are being accepted as a variable from the user using your application. And once those things are added up, or once you get those small inputs, it is being that prompt is being created and passed to the LLMs. For example, write a dash for a product launch. Now this dash could be an email, could be a blog, could be an article. Yeah, I'm just giving an example. So it could be a variable. You just ask from the user what it could be. The user says it's blog. So you have your template is write a dash, or the input that is write a block for the product launch kind of. So that is how one of the things are used, or rather the templates are used in your applications as such. So that is one thing. Okay, now what is about the selection strategy? Okay, so always try to use the the heaviest kind of models. Okay, and pass on your prompt to it, see you're getting the results. Once you start getting the results, start ramping down it to the lower models, okay, the cheaper ones kind of, and see if you get the same response. Okay, and where you find, okay, now getting into this models the response changes drastically, then try to come up again. So this is the way. You don't have to go because if you start from the lower one, and goes on a higher category, you will always find uh, the same response, and you cannot figure it out much difference in it. So it's not a thumb rule, but it's advisable to go with the heaviest one to the lower one, and see based on your output or the response you want as a part of your inputs, whether it is an kind of satisfactory one, and accordingly you select your models. One thing is about you can use multiple models, and based on the prompt change. Now what is prompt change, we will uh, see in the later slides, but that is also one of the strategy to use a combinations of different models. Space efficiency, so this is a very interesting part. Okay, very interesting thing when it comes to prompts. So if you remember, when you saw that we saw that token slides. Okay, if you remember carefully, if you have seen carefully, it is using even the space the words start with. Okay, see this. Now if you see the product, how the product is starting after a, there is a space after a, right? Write a space product, so that even that space has been counted. Then launch, see, even the space starting the verb just before the words is being counted. Okay, so this white spaces actually plays a very important role in the in your building your prompts. Now you can see the latest you can see the easiest example over here, and it is does not depend upon the length. Make sure that people, we usually think the larger the length will increase the number of token. No, even the shortest one can increase your tokens. So this is where the catch is. It is not a straightforward stuff. You have to think very carefully while writing this prompts, or while building out these prompts. Now if you see November 30, 2022, this is the bit longest one, right? When writing the date, and the last one is 30-11-2022. Now as if you just see this, we can easily make out that the last format is a very short one, so it will take less number of tokens. But that is not the case. If you see the first one, it is taking only 3 tokens, right? Whereas the one which we thought that would be the shortest one, it is taking 1 2 3 4 5 6 tokens. Okay, so here the difference lies. So white spaces and all will play a very important role, okay, in your building your prompts. So it is always recommended to have a kind of as we talked about the target format, it is always recommended, like if you want some huge input, or sorry, huge output or something, have it in a tabular format. So this space and all will not come into more into that picture as such when it comes to a tabular format. This plays when it comes to a kind of textual one. So of course the language, the format will play an important role, especially the space one. Now it's an very general recommendations. There is no as such thumb rules or best practices kind of. It's very general stuff. These are coming, as we know, it is still evolving. Day by day we come to know about new things altogether based on this Gen AI. So prompts, this is whatever is being showed or whatever is being presented, it is based on some of the um, personal experiences and the professional experiences around, and this is how it's coming all together. So be specific in your input when you give an input or whenever you give an out. So I will always say prompt. Whenever I say prompt, consider it, just uh, you know it refers to the input given to the your models. So I will just say prompts now, because that input output sometimes get confuses, so it's better prompts. Okay, so be specific in your prompts whenever you write, whenever you're trying to build it. Okay, the order matters. Order in the sense, it is always like the instructions, the instructions, the input date. Okay, the tone, the target, the context, the target, and last queue. So it does matter sometimes. So you can change the orders. Okay, and you can see whether it how your response comes in. You can, whatever you write, first write in the same order what we saw about. Okay, the target and all those stuffs. Once it is there, just see the output, change the order if you think, and see how the responses changes. If you find better response in changing the order, no, nothing as such, you can just go with this. um, Always give an model, as I said, an output, sorry, and target out, or how it should be, like in a form of JSON or whatever, HTML or something, that will really help to get your response in a much better way. Some technical recommendation is, again, if you can see, all everything says the same thing, like giving the clear instructions or the specific instructions again and again, right? It is just about a very you must be thinking like, what exactly we are talking about. All the slides are very much same, it is just reframing the stuff, and that is what our topic was. It's an art and it's not a science. When it comes to science, it has all the different staying strategies and everything, but it's an art. It can be in a different form, but the same things, and that's it's all about. Okay, so start with an clear instructions and repeat the instructions at end. So it is always feasible to give the repeat the instructions, that will help you out in your better output. The syntaxes, the headers, the separators, like you know rewrite and reframe the sentence, and just don't start the sentence, give an kind of hyphen or double inverted commas kind of, so it will give a kind of separators, and it will show, or it will tell the LLMs that, okay, this are the two different instructions altogether, or two different sentences altogether. Break the task down. We will see in the coming slides how this breaking task works. Um Again, the temperature and drop probabilities, will not get more into it, but this prompts, this LLMs are very stochastic in nature. Okay, every time you give the input, you will every time you give one prompt, and it will give you a different output altogether. So to make uh, this probability of getting less changes in the as a part of output, these temperatures are from 0 to 1 kind of, sorry, yeah. And it is always preferable to have that zero point 0.7 kind of, uh, for the better results. So if anyone have you used Azure OpenAI, Azure AI Studio, Azure OpenAI Studio, you must have seen in the right hand side there is an toggle, right, to set this temperature and probabilities, and that depends, or that shows how this response comes all together. Of course, you need to be very much responsible in your while refining, or while designing your prompts. So it's like, always uh, you should be very much, the instruction should have this uh, that what you should always use, or what you should not use in your responses. Kind of, your tone should be always a very polite one, a kind of positiveness. It's not should be an kind of uh, you know uh, uh, a negative sort of, kind of, you are arguing, or in that kind of tone. So it's always, you keep your tone in a very light manner, light polite way. Use kind of safety when it comes to a biasness, or which can hurt other sentiments, though it could be a religious sentiments, anything. So if at all you get something, just as a part of your input, just mention, give a clear instruction, or a clear context that you should decline any kind of the heart rate kind of stuff, and about of course of the jailbreak. So these are few of, you must be very much responsible in your when it comes to the engineering, or when it comes to dealing with your models. Now the interesting part is about the zero shot versus few shot. So uh, a very branding names, zero shot, few shot, one shots and all. So this example will help you out, like how what is all together. So if you can see the first example, it is like classify the customer questions, and 1 2 3, and those categories are written. And you can see there is nothing as such after the categories are given, so it's with no examples. Okay, no examples, and directly the questions is being asked below the customer question and the topic. Okay, now in when you see that few shots, okay, the questions, the top question remains the same, but in that violet area you can see the exact, sorry, examples are also given. Okay, now this is known as few shots. Okay, where you provide a kind of example in your prompt to the models, like what how the thing should be. So the first part was same, the question, but here in the few shot they have given two examples. Now if at all you give only one example, okay, that is known as one shot. So it is just zero shot with no example, one shot with one example, few shot with more than one examples. And then uh, so this is the only difference between the zero, few and one. Okay, so few short is that you give some example with your prompts. Okay, now chain of thoughts. Okay, so what happened, like, see, if you uh, you it is the LLM's response are not always correct, and especially when it comes to calculating the things. So if you see, it's a kind of, you have given a mathematical question about some calculating some stuff, like what is the annual water demand and all, and you can see what the answer is coming, which is absolutely wrong. So now what is being done? Okay, we have given the reasoning, we have given the steps. Okay, like how to calculate this. If you see that the one in the blue color right hand side, we have given the steps, and then in the last one you can see the result is right. So this is nothing but chain of thoughts. This is giving the step, or this is providing the reasoning to the models in the prompts, like how the things should be calculated. Now this of course will comes with a cost, because as we are increasing, as we are writing down the steps, because see, before and after, when you see that the prompts, the length is huge. Okay, that means the token will be huge, but this will make sure that your answers or your output are right. Okay, um, same again in the kind of few shots. Now here there was a question given, and the answer was expected. Like they gave the one shot, one example as such, like uh, Roger has 5 tennis ball and so, and the answer is this. And then they asked a similar kind of question, and the answer was wrong. Okay, now after when we started giving that reasoning in a few short manner, like how this is the first one, Roger, how we calculated, and the answer was 11. And then we gave the same question, the answer was right, but see the output, it also gave the output in the same manner, which we give as an example, like so and so, like cafeteria at 23, they used this in a very reasoning way. So again, there was no example, or one example given, but it was not helpful, because we directly gave the answer. We When we started giving in a reasoning way, it started with an giving the answer in a appropriate manner. Prompt chaining, if you remember in the earlier slide, we talked about in the model strategy about the using multiple or multiple, yeah, models in a form of chaining ones. So uh, these are one of the things, like you can see for the first one what we did, there was a prompt and we got a reply. Okay, we wrote that extract the entities and kind of stuff, we got a reply, we sent that response to as in form of other prompt, and we got the response. And then adding up or chaining up the two responses, we add up, we produce that particular input to the third, as a third what we say input. The two outputs which we received earlier, we presented it as an input for the third one, and we get a desired output. Now this example is a very layman, I know it is like just getting the sentiment of a particular uh, text, or what we say a content. These three things were not necessary, but just to present like what this prompt chaining is all about, or how does it works, this example is written as. Okay, so what it did, first we tried to extract it by one prompt, then second we passed it and we summarized it, and then we passed it to the as to get the sentiment one. So it is just an example, it is just chaining, or it is just adding up the response of the earlier prompt with the next one, and kind of so those who are familiar with Azure functions and durable functions, it's most likely that durable functions kind of orchestration, getting the response from the if you're not known to durable functions and all, so it's absolutely fine. It is just I'm trying to set up one context with the Azure guys. So fine, so it is just about chaining up the things, yeah, getting up the responses and passing it to get a better result in a sophisticated or optimized manner. Okay, this remains very much same of the chunking. If you see, what happens is, uh, as I told you about the context, right? Every model has some sort of threshold uh, value of tokens, okay, that they can process or they can accept. So what in case of you have a very large set of data which you need to get an answer, or you need to get, or you need to have something on it. Like for example, you have you are using a model, just for example you are using a model which accepts only 500 tokens. Okay, and you have an word document of 35 pages with more than 5,000 words, or consider 30,000 words, and you need to summarize that entire document. You need to see, you need to have a summary of that entire document of that 25,000 words, but you are using a token or model which accepts only kind of 1,000 token. Just an example I'm saying about. Okay, so what you can do in that case, so there is something known as prompt chunking. Okay, what you do is you chunk, or you divide your entire set of data in a small chunks. Okay, in a small chunks, and you get summary of that particular small chunk. And once you get all the summaries, you just pass the entire those summaries and get uh, a detailed kind of summary of all the chunks. Like for first para, if you see this one. Okay, here it has a many sentences, but it just passed this one. So this is our text document. Okay, now it has divided into three part, into three chunks. For the first thing, it summarizes the one. This is the one. The for second thing, it summarizes. Second thing, it can summary three. So now this first, second, and third is being passed and being asked as an kind of the final summary, or the final whatever output you wanted. So that is known as chunking. So it's nothing but it is about processing your large data in a by dividing or getting into small chunks, and then performing the task, and then the results are being sent in as in what we say, combining all the results, we are sending it for a getting the response. So that is known as prompt chunking. Now, hallucination. Hallucinate, in the year 2023, Cambridge Dictionary has, declared as a word of the year. So, and you very well know your models always hallucinates. Okay. So, what you should do to reduce these hallucinations? So, these are few of the things which you can always use in your prompts. Okay. That is, you should tell your prompts that this is what you don't want. Okay, if you should instruct your prompt that if you don't know the answer, just say I don't know, rather than hallucinating or writing some rubbish, or not rubbish, but any wrong things or false statements. So it's always good that whenever it is not sure or doesn't know, just say that I don't know. Okay. Mention that, give an straight away instruction that don't make up the facts, kind of. Okay. Always try to see your answers. Give the step by step reasoning which we saw about the chain of thoughts and all. Okay, that really helps. um, give the models, or ask the models with an what we say, an examples, step by step examples, all the things which we just saw, the chunking one, the reasoning one, few shots and all, that will really help you for the reducing your this hallucination nature of your models. Okay. um no, this is something uh, out of the context, but fine. Like bringing your data to the prompts and all. As I said about about the prompt templates and all, there are many things which comes as an part of bringing your own data in your when it comes to the LLM, it is a set of the entire stuff, but you can scope it to your for searching or for generating all this context with your own data by feeding it as a kind of source. Let's not get more into it. It all depends upon this RAG. So I don't want to get dive into this one. It is more. Let's talk about more about prompts. These are few of the uh, great libraries which are available, like kind of LangChain and semantics. So as I said, like we are more into uh, talking or developing or discussing about the complex LLM structures. So this LangChain semantic kernel, this always plays a very important role. It really helps you to orchestrate your applications with different models, with different integrates different areas into your applications and get those data. So it's very really interesting one. You should definitely go with this. Azure has come up with a very interesting uh, uh, of about Azure prompt flows. Okay, that is bringing your data again, using your organizational data, orchestrating your data, getting some data, or getting some functions, or getting having some what we say, desiring to do something from the third party sort of in a kind of orchestrated way. So this is just a screenshot. There, if I we need an altogether different session when it comes to Azure prompt flow. So you must definitely, I would recommend you should try it. It's a very it plays a very important role in the prompt engineering stuff when you deals with Azure. Um, these are a few of the learning resources. Um, Publicly available, like from the community, from different sources. Okay, from OpenAI, from Microsoft Learns and all. There is a very interesting course for the beginners from Microsoft, that is for generative AI for beginners, right from what is the foundation models, how the prompts are, what are the good way, how to add it up, how to create an applications. So this will really helps you out when you start with your prompt process. uh, I will share this deck with the organizers so that you can get these links. Um there had an very first conference on prompt engineering last year. Okay, and where you have a set of sessions all together about the prompts and just prompts. So you can go to this prompt engineering that rocks, and you will get there all those 10 hours tech talks only based on prompts. And again, there will be an you can get the dates for the upcoming conference as well. uh, okay, so this is what I had today. I know this topic is very vast, but we have a limited time and we need to adhere that thing. So I believe it's very much 20 minutes, 10 minutes are remaining. So you can connect with me over here. You can go to this web portal where you can get all the social credentials, my books details, my blogs, my events, and everything. And let's stay connected. Thank you, and open for the questions.
Thank you, Kazam, for a great presentation. That was really interesting and really insightful. So, as Kazam said, we are going to open up the questions session now. So, if you have a question on anything at all, please feel free to type it into the questions window and Kazam will kindly answer those questions. So, the first question I see here, Kazam, is someone is wondering, are there any ethical considerations or challenges associated with prompt engineering and how to address them?
As we said, a very good question. So, be it an ethical one, be it a kind of responsible one, we should always make sure, that um our prompts should not give a kind of, wrong or incorrect answers, or the answers which can, uh, which could be a biased one, or sort of, the instructions, the anatomy which we talked about, that plays a very important role when we build up these prompts altogether. So yes, ethically we need to very much make sure that our prompts is give a positive response. It says knows when it doesn't know the things, or it not sure about the things. It always decline the responses which can hurt the sentiments, or which goes in a very with the prompts or the request which comes in as for an unethical way. So yes, there are many aspects or instructions or the context which we can use in part of this for considering. Hope that answers.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Kazam. So the next question then is someone asked, for individuals who may not have a technical background, how can they contribute or be involved in the conversation around prompt engineering?
Okay, so for this, uh, the best best stuff is to go to have it tried out in a chat gpt, or there is an open ai website, okay, where you can go with an kind of playground stuff, okay, where you can make your hand dirty yourself with diving into different prompts, or optimizing or redefining some prompts. And of course, once you define and you see that you're getting a right responses, you can create a template based on your prompts, and you can definitely contribute as an open source. Those templates can be very well used.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kazam. So another question then is, should we have any concerns about prompts quality in third-party plugins or skills?
uh s- like what exactly concerns with the third party, can
In
we?
third-party SK plugins or skills?
Uh, Sorry, I didn't understood the question, the context of the question actually. So if they can elaborate the question, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so if that person just wants to elaborate more on the question, we will come back to it afterwards. So I'll move
Okay.
on to the next question then. And that question is a technical question. So this person is saying they have built a complex solution with Azure
Hmm.
OpenAI API. The
Okay.
solution reads and analyzes thousands of external emails. The challenge I am facing is that 20% of the responses are not consistent with the rest of the response in terms of quality and format of output, even though the prompts are fine-tuned, which made the 80% a good result. Any idea how to solve this?
I need to discuss with them. I would request the person to get in touch with me, so that we can discuss more on what exactly the emails, or what exactly how the emails are altogether processed. So that will make me answer in a very efficient manner, rather than giving an high level stuff, because they are getting 80% in a right response, and it's on about 20%. So it depends what models they are using. Are they are using combinations of different models? Are they, what temperature and probabilities they are using? Is it is always same throughout the processing, or is it something depends upon the length of the email, the temperature and the probabilities changes? models changes, how the things are happening, whether they are using a kind of chunks for the large emails, or is it a kind of they are giving some examples for that particular example, for different mail structures. So this there are few questions, or there are few things which needs to be known or discussed before answering, before getting into this 20% sort of stuff.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kazam. So that seems to be all the questions that we have in here today. So I might
Okay.
just wrap up the Q&A session. But if
Yeah.
anyone does have any further questions, as Kazam said, he is happy to connect and chat about it. So
Yes.
that is the end of today's webinar. On behalf of the ESPC community, Kazam, I just want to say a huge thank you again to you for taking out the time out of your day to carry out this webinar. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you everyone for joining. And hope to see you all in the next session for this interesting Azure AI week.
Yes, absolutely. So that is it for today, folks. Thanks again to everyone
Thank
for
you.
joining us. And we hope that we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye bye.